Welcome everybody to a special StevoG Podcast coming from you live on Monday the 27th of May. This is a politics special, so if you want to turn off now, please turn off. I will be going through, I've actually written notes. How freaking organised am I? 2 pages of notes. So this is your warning, kick back, relax, listen to the dullest tones of my voice as we go through the European election winners and losers. And I've got some other politics things I want to throw in there as well. This is coming to you live from my office / spare bedroom. So I'm going to quickly go through the European elections and how they unfolded last night. I'm only going to do it for Great Britain and Scotland. Northern Ireland hasn't declared yet, and Wales, but I'm not going to go for France or anyone like that because we're here all freaking day. So this is your final warning if you want to turn off now, or if you don't like the European election results, or you're just not interested. There will be some politics at the end as well about the Conservatives and Labour, so if you're interested in that, please stay tuned. Quick warning, these are my opinions only, so if you don't agree with my opinions or don't like them, then please, I was having a debate on Twitter with some guy, and we had a debate. We've lost the chance of debate in this country. It's just like, if you don't like something, you just scream at the other person you don't like. So, that's the intro padded out. I've got some, not an alcoholic beverage today, I've got some flavoured water juice thing that I bought from Aldi. Shock, Aldi. Quick swig, and let's get on with it. So, if you haven't already known, the European Union, I think 72 seats are up for grabs for everyone in fighting for these seats. So they were split into different areas. I'm not going to go through that. But the winners were the Brexit Party. They gained 29 seats. That was they've only been around for 6 weeks, so they've plus 29 seats. The Lib Dems came in second. A good performance by them. In 2014 they had 1 seat, and now they've jumped up to 16 seats. So if you do the maths, 15 seats have been gained. Then we have the first major party, Labour Party, only got 10 seats at the European election. 10 seats, that's shocking for a major party. Gets worse. They lost 10 seats in the MEPs. I do feel sorry for them hard-working MEPs that have lost their seats. I'm not a fan of Labour myself, but they've lost 10 seats. The Greens, I know they did quite well over the whole of the European elections. I'm only counting the Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Well, Northern Ireland hasn't been declared yet. They get declared today, I believe. So they gained 4 seats. They've now got 7. So good turnout for the Greens there. Oh dear. The Conservatives. Wow. 4 seats. They've only sent 4 MEPs back to Brussels and Strasbourg, whatever the hell it's based nowadays. They lost 15 seats. My God, that is shocking. The Scottish National Party, they gained 3 seats up in Scotland. Well, they've got 3 seats, sorry. They've gained another seat. I think the other seat for them went to the Brexit Party. They were close second, I believe, in Scotland. Plaid Cymru, I hope I pronounced that correctly. That's the Welsh Party. They've no change really. They've still got 1 seat. And I think one of the biggest losers out of the European elections was UKIP, who, remember, won the 2014 European elections. They've lost all 24 seats, not sending a single MEP back to the European Union Parliament. So I got that from I've got the source as well. Very professional today. I've got that from Sky News. You'll see a lot of that today. I've been on this app this morning. So yeah, I was watching the BBC coverage actually, and the Brexit Party have stormed to victory. You've got the Remain parties of the Lib Dems, Labour. I'm guessing Labour's half of Labour are pro-Remain. The Greens, they want to stop Brexit. And the SNP, they want to stop Brexit as well. They had a big turnout in Scotland, which I'll get onto later. But the biggest losers of the night will have to be the two major parties, Labour and Conservative, and UKIP. Turnout in the European elections is up. I calculated by 7.5% from 2014. 2014 European elections, it went from 43% to 50.5%. That was I got that from, I was reading Quartz. Is it Quartz? Yeah, I was reading Quartz, and I actually went on the European Parliament Twitter page. I begrudge me going on there, but you know my feelings. And I think I read somewhere that it was 37% turnout in the UK, which is up, I think it's it. But you know my opinions on Brexit and Leave, Remain. I'm going to talk about that later on. So, okay. I voted for the Brexit Party, I'm not going to lie. I am a Conservative voter. I feel that Theresa May was trying to please everybody. She's trying to please the hard Remainers who don't want to leave, and she's trying to please the hard Brexiteers who want to leave today. I think that's her downfall. I'm going to go talk about more the Conservatives later on. But now, the largest party in the European Union is the Brexit Party, and I think the picture I found here was they are first with, I believe, I'm not too big on like European parties, but I think that's Angela Merkel's party, which is the second biggest, well, joint first with the Brexit Party. But I'm sure that's Angela Merkel's party, who is the Queen of Europe, as we know. I'm not going to get into that. This is trying to be I'm trying not to put my opinions on this podcast too much because everyone knows my opinions, but that was from Berta Herrero. I got that from a European journalist. I do hope I pronounced your name correctly. I'm sorry if I haven't. And if you look down the list there, I just picked out the parties in Great Britain. The Lib Dems there coming 11th, and Labour. And as I said, again, I just classed the Greens as the Greens UK. I know the Greens did well over the whole of the European election. They came 19th. Again, that's the UK Greens. I'm not, imagine the comments. The Greens did well over... Yes, I know they did well over the whole thing, but the Green UK Party came 19th. As I said, they sent back... They got 4 seats from last time, so that's a good thing. So... Again, the Brexit Party topped that. Right, we're going to go to Scotland now, because Scotland is a big one. Now, Scottish nationalism is on the rise. It's been on the rise since actually the referendum took place. I actually put a poll on Twitter, and apparently only 6 people live in Scotland, because only 6 people voted. It's still ongoing if this goes up in time. But the SNP won 3 of the seats, which I've already explained. So they gained a seat with 37% of the vote. Now that is cracking. I was on Nicola Sturgeon's Twitter page, and she says that Scottish people have rejected Brexit, and they're now pushing for Indie referendum too. Now, I don't understand the Scottish politics. I'm not going to sit here and say I do, because it's very complicated. But I don't get why they want to leave, but that is totally up to them if they want to. I'm not going to sit here and begrudge them that. But, the Scottish nationalists turn out in force again. I think there's only, as I said, the Brexit Party got 1. I think they were a close second with the Lib Dems. Well, not a close second. They were like miles behind. I think last time I looked, they had about 15-14% of the vote, and the Lib Dems was third. They were close third behind the Brexit Party. So where does this leave Scotland? Because we've got. I'm quite close to Scotland, as you know. I'm in the north of England, but the SNP are going on a surge at the moment. I don't know where they're coming from. I thought they would have petered out after the failed second independence referendum bid, but they're on the surge still. I don't like Nicola Sturgeon. I think she's very. I think she's one policy party, but so's the Brexit Party, to be fair. But no, give them credit. They're still out in force. The Scottish people, I think they will have a second referendum. I don't think it'll be yet, because I just don't. The gist I get is they don't want it now. I think they want to see where it goes, but Nicola Sturgeon's trying to ram it down the throats of the people in Scotland. And I think that they will get their second independence referendum. And I think, I don't know, I didn't do the research on the referendum in Scotland, but I'm guessing it was close. But then same could say about the Brexit campaign, like everyone whitters on about that. So yeah, Scotland are doing, the Scottish nationalism is on the rise, and they want to leave, but they don't want to leave Europe, which I don't get. But I actually thought that if Scotland left the United Kingdom and wanted to join, I saw a report that the Spanish would block their bid. Don't quote me on that. I haven't got a source for that. But again, I think that they wouldn't have to join. Would they have to join Schengen? I'm not sure. They would become the Euro, because obviously they want to stay with the sterling. I could easily go on a Scottish nationalist rant here, but I'm not going to. If you want to rant with me, or look at all the tweets I had a few drinks last night, so as Dano quoted to me, that who put 50p in you tonight. Right. Enough about Scottish nationalists. Now let's move on to. Should we go back to the Brexit Party? Yeah, we'll talk about the Brexit Party. I'm not going to go through all the candidates of the Brexit Party, but the main ones I think got in. The sister of Jacob Rees-Mogg got in. Obviously, Nigel Farage got in, Anne Widdecombe, Richard Tice, who is I think he's like one of the main players. They're all like businessmen and women. That's what the Brexit Party say they are. So, that's what I think the country needs, is a good, tough negotiator to get out there and give the European Union, hell, basically, because they walked all over Theresa May. There's no ifs or buts about it. She went back there, cap in hand, going, please, can we have some more concessions? The government's not happy. It's like Oliver. And Mr. Juncker and Guy Verhofstadt and all them people, trying to keep the language good there, they all decided that no, you're not getting anything more, because they want to give us a bad deal. So we'll vote again, and then that will be to remain. This has happened before in the Netherlands, in Ireland. They got made to vote again. But we will not be wore down, I don't think. I think we'll stick to our guns for once. We'll talk about the Conservative leadership in a bit. Now, Labour and the Conservatives collapse. Is anyone still there? Hello? This is going to be, if you're not interested in politics, this is going to be a very, very boring podcast for you. I'm doing it on my own as well, so hooray. Labour loses 10 seats, and as soon, I am going to put a bit of my own rant in here. As soon, I was watching the BBC coverage, as soon as that projection was put out there, Emily Thornberry, straight away, we've got this wrong, we need to go for a people's vote. Whatever they called it, back to the people, whatever. I actually did some digging this morning. Keir Starmer, who is their Brexit shadow Brexit secretary, And John McDonnell, who is the Shadow Chancellor, I believe, and Emily Thornberry is the Shadow Foreign Secretary. I think they're all screaming on Twitter saying that they need a second referendum and the people didn't know what they were voting for. And I was watching Emily Thornberry's performance last night, and I was just going mad at the TV. I was just like, "Are you kidding me?" You knew that was going to happen. If they did badly, they'd be like, "Oh yes, we need a second referendum." If they did well, they'd have been like, "We've taken some of the Brexit voters, blah blah blah. We can do better." Clearly, they have not. The thing with Labour is, we all laugh at we don't laugh at the Conservatives, but we all said the Conservatives have done terrible, and that they've collapsed overnight, which they have. I think they collapsed in the local elections, but everyone doesn't forget. Everyone needs to remember how bad Labour are doing. I think the Labour vote is split. I really do. Because up north, with bars and gravy, up in the north was very Leave, and the north is classed as Labour territory, Heartland Labour. And then you've got Heartland Labour in the capital as well. We'll briefly touch on the Lib Dems in London. But, I think Labour are out of touch because you've got very left-wing politicians in Labour. I think Corbyn will go sooner rather than later. I think he can't survive this if he's got people calling for a second referendum. But will he bend? I put this on Twitter last night. Will he bend to the will of the party and go with it? I think he is a Brexiteer at heart. I don't think he is. I think he's a Leaver. He'll never admit that. But I think Labour are really out of touch with the common voter. Because they look and think, London, second referendum, blah, 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 blah. And then you've got the northern people who have actually turned to the Brexit party, and that's the key issue. I said on Twitter that when I was having the debate with this man yesterday, I think if you want Leave, you vote Brexit party, and I think if you want Remain, I think you have to vote Liberal Democrat, because the two major parties were not offering a clear-cut view. Neither of them were. I don't care what you say. I'm a Conservative voter. We'll touch on them in a moment. But Labour need to sort themselves out. I actually said on Twitter last night they need to come down on one side of the fence. They either need to be the party for Remain or the party for Leave. It's which way will they bend, really, because it goes back to their conference, wherever it is, and they choose what is. They have a debate about it. Personally, I do think that Labour will now shift to second referendum, people's vote for the next general election, which I think will be soon because I think the government will collapse, which I'll get to later on. So I do think the government will collapse, but I think that Jeremy Corbyn is literally on the ropes now. I think he can't hang on to this. I know he didn't survive it when the first election came round, I can't remember when that was, and he absolutely got obliterated. And he hung on. I did say at the time, I said he did well for hanging on, but I think it's time that Labour got rid of him. If they want to have a serious challenge at the next general election, either they're going to have to change the policies on Brexit, or they're going to have to get rid of him, because I don't like him. I think he's a communist. But that's my opinion. I'll never vote for him, but there is people out there that will vote for Jeremy Corbyn. And I have a bit of issues with their policies, not in name, but more in practicality. Like, I would totally vote for a party that would raise the minimum wage up to £10 an hour. That sounds fantastic, but then the bloody cost of living will have to go up, and then we won't feel the effect. Everything will just go up. if it goes up to £10 minimum wage. And I get, don't even get me started on free university places. Don't start me on that. But no, I'll never vote Labour. I've never voted Labour in my life, actually. I'm not going to go for the brief history of who I voted for. I'm a Conservative. We all know this. I'm a Conservative leaver, so I voted for Brexit. And yeah, so we're not going to go through that. But I think Labour really, really need to pull the finger out, because if they don't, they're going to get destroyed in the next general election. But I'm always wrong. General elections, briefly, general elections are a bit different to like the European election there, because it's a different first fast the post system. We've got, obviously there was not many policies on offer. I know the Brexit Party leader Nigel Farage says he will never use the word manifesto again, because that's just basically lies, which it is. Not many parties stick to their manifesto promises. So I think that Labour need to come down one side of the fence, either remain or leave. And I think it's going to go remain, in my opinion. But we're talking about collapses overnight of the vote. Let's talk about the Conservative Party. Right, as I've briefly mentioned, I am a Conservative voter. I did not vote for the Conservatives in this European election. I voted Brexit Party. And this is from Laura Koonsberg. I love that name, Laura Koonsberg. From the BBC. This is the worst result for the Conservative Party in its history. This has been a disaster for the Conservatives. And again, what I said about Labour, out of touch with the people, out of touch with the common folk, so to speak. Theresa May was trying to please everybody, which doesn't work, which I briefly touched on before. So now she's going, and now it's, again, the Conservatives need to know which way they're going for. Are they going to chase the Brexit Party votes and get the hard Brexiteers back and everything, or are they going to soften their stance and make some concessions? Personally, I actually don't think what they're going to do now is, I think they'll lose, and that is, unless something sweeps majorly in our favour for the Brexiteers. But I think it was parliamentary seats. I think there's 75% plus Remain voters in the government, so they're not. No one's going to pass it. I know the Brexiteers did come into line with Theresa May's last withdrawal agreement. I can't even call it a deal. It was a new treaty. But yeah, the Conservatives are trying to please everyone. It hasn't worked. They've had the worst result in the party's history. Now, I'm a bit sad about that, because I watched the Theresa May speech where she was crying outside of number 10, and as a person, I do feel sorry for her, because she is trying to do the best. But as a politician, absolutely no way. She has lost any bit of respect for as a politician, because she sat there, I think it was classed as 108 times she said we'd be leaving on March 29th, and we're still in. Not always her fault, but she didn't help herself. That's what I'm going to go with that. Voting Conservatives in the future, I'll go through the list of Conservatives riders and runners later on. But I just think that they need to proper buckle down now. I just think as well that no matter what they bring back, they can say, right, we're doing this, this and this. Labour will never agree. And the Scottish nationalists will never agree. So I actually think I've briefly touched on this, there will be a general election about August, October time. I think the government will collapse. I said this on Twitter last night. I think the government will collapse. I think that they'll just call a general election. I know Labour want one now, but, you know, why would they give it to Labour? Because they aren't really rosy themselves. They can't decide what they want. So I do think there will be a general election soon. I actually think that it'll be about October, August time. And it's going to be an eye-opener because, as I said, people now think, I saw Anne Widdecombe and Nigel Farage saying they want to be on the negotiating team, but the European Union have said there's no more negotiation. That is it. You know, either you leave without a deal or you accept this withdrawal agreement, which is crap anyway. But I actually think that there is room for negotiation because we'll just turn around and say, right, we'll walk away. You know, we whatever high position we had at that table, at that negotiating table, we lost it as soon as we were begging the European Union for concessions. I'm no businessman, but I actually believe that what we do in them negotiations, even it's not calling bluff, but if we threaten we're going to leave, I think with no deal, I think they would turn around and be like, ooh, because it's not just, I know everyone says, oh, it'll take a hit on our economy and all this, but it's not our just economy it'll hit the European ones as well. How much Prosecco do we buy? How much Belgian chocolate? How many German cars? You know, do you think that will... No, I'm sorry, I just think that it will collapse. I think that if we don't... I think we can get a free trade agreement with the European Union, but it's just how politicians want to face the backlash, because I can imagine if Theresa May, when that first withdrawal agreement failed and she stood there and she came into the dispatch box, if she'd have said, right, we are going for a no deal, leave, I think there'd have been heckling, but if she'd have said that, I think it would have started a lot of people into place. I think the European Union would take notice. I think that everyone would take notice. It's not calling bluff, it's just exploring that option. Because we've never explored that option, I actually think that people now just think, we'll just accept any deal. And of course, if the European Union give us a good deal, then the French will want to leave. Because, briefly talking about Le Pen, Marine Le Pen, she beat... Was she beating Macron? I don't know, I've never looked at the final result of that. But Emmanuel Macron, he's gone. He's the next poster boy of Europe when Angela Merkel steps down. But, you know, the European Union is crumbling. Like, people say to me, why did you vote Brexit? I would have voted if the European Union would reform. But it will not. It's a political union. It's not about trade anymore. It's about a union in the middle. And it's politically taking over Europe. And we don't want to be ruled by European Union. We want to be ruled by ourselves. We want to be friendly to our neighbours. We want to trade. We want to have friends. We want to take their people in. I'm not bothered about immigration. If people want to come here, absolutely fine. But I think the infrastructure needs to be in place. I think that they need to come here, even if they are making a better life for themselves, they need to come here with a purpose. I think they need to come here with a bit of money behind them. I don't think they can just open up their home and just go, right, we're going to join the benefit system, which is what some people do, not all people, you know. But, you know, if that was a thing, then yeah, great, but it won't. We'll never get there. But if it reformed, it reformed, but it hasn't. So, we're talking about collapses, briefly, 29 minutes in. We are going to talk about UKIP. Now, I'm not going to talk much about UKIP. They lost all 24 seats. The leader, Gerard Batten, said he will step down if he didn't... Well, he said his position would become untenable if he didn't get his seat back. Is this the end for UKIP? I was again, doing more research. I was on the Twitter page. I don't think that's a viable source, but I was on the UKIP Twitter page, and they've sent congratulations out to the Brexit Party. They said that the country is now up for a WTO Brexit. That's a thing for debate. But there is a still loyal fan base for UKIP. I was on the comment section, and everyone was saying that don't give up, UKIP are the best, blah blah blah. There weren't not great in the elections, but they were getting a few votes in. Sometimes we're beating Change UK, which we are not going to go into because they're going to disintegrate. But yeah, I think that the UKIP vote has gone, but I think there's still the loyal. Reminds me of I'm not comparing this before anyone starts shouting at me. I'm comparing it as political parties. I'm comparing it to the BNP, where it rose high and then it's fizzled out over the years, because the BNP is now not a party anymore. I think the election they were dissolved. But I'm not comparing UKIP and the BNP before everyone starts shouting at me. I could easily do it, but I'm not going to. I'm just comparing the political parties. I think they've rose up in 2014, and I think they've now fallen from grace. And every party does that. So, and talking about disgraceful collapses, Tommy Robinson, aka Stephen Yaxley Lennon, he only got 2.2% of the vote in the Northwest. He lost his £5,000 deposit, and he was outside of the Manchester courthouse saying that the establishment, I'm going to quote this now, the establishment has angered and scuppered his plans because they banned him from Twitter and social media. I got that from The Guardian. Now, Tommy Robinson is a decisive figure in UK I don't know if he said politics. He was the old founder of the EDL, or the old lead. Maybe not the founder, but he was the old leader of the EDL. He then went to work for, is it Rebel Media? And he then got arrested for standing outside of courtrooms and harassing mostly Muslim people. I'm not going to say it wasn't, because he did. So then he got put into jail for it because he was perversing the cause of justice. And then did he join UKIP? I don't know. He became like an advisor to the UKIP leader. So I think that's what people deterred UKIP away, because they were letting the right extreme in. But I'm not gonna. That's their choice. Up to them. If you want to vote for them, that's absolutely fine. It's freedom. It's a free country. You can vote for whoever you want. So he did that, and then he got 2% of the vote, even though he was standing independently. I don't know. I didn't follow that. Like, he was part of UKIP. He was, and then all of a sudden he was standing on his own. So yeah, not a good night for Stephen Yaxley Lennon. But independents. They do all right. Sometimes they do all right. I know they did the local council, but it's his first. I'm going to play devil's advocate here. That was his first real test as a independent, and if he has got the following in the Northwest, I've never been to the North. Well, I've been to Manchester, been to Blackpool and that, but if he has got the following over there, then we'll soon see if he makes some traction. And finally, I've wasted half an hour of your life, or just over. We're going to talk about the Conservative election race. As a Conservative voter, this has interested me the most. Right, so we have got running for it. We have got Boris Johnson, Michael Gove, Dominic Raab, Esther McVeigh, Andrea Leadsom, Jeremy Hunt, Matthew Hancock, and Rory Stewart. They're the ones that have declared so far. 8 runners so far that have declared. Sajid Javid might run, which I hope he does, because I like Sajid Javid. I think he's a good politician. As the Foreign Secretary, took over from Boris. Right, so let's briefly talk about who wants what. Boris wants a hard Brexit no matter what. Dominic Raab does. StevoG Javid was a Remainer. Not too sure about Jeremy Hunt. I think he was a Remainer. Michael Gove is a Leaver, but now he's turned around and said that he's not leaving without a deal, so that rules him out. Esther McVeigh, I think she was a Leaver. Andrea Leadsom was a Leaver. I'm not too sure about Matthew Hancock and Rory Stewart. So, I have made a nice little photo here, as you can gladly see. I am putting squares around the people that I wouldn't mind as of now. So I would go, my choice would be Boris, closely followed by Dominic Raab. Closely followed, I know he's not on here, but if StevoG Javid run, I'd vote for him. And then Esther McVeigh would be fourth. I like Esther McVeigh, but that's my personal choice of who I would like to run for this leadership. Michael Gove can go away. He famously stabbed Boris in the back after the 2016 referendum when he said that, yeah, you should run. And then he went, no, I'm going to run. And then Boris didn't run. And then he came miserable in that one. Jeremy Hunt, well, you know what his name rhymes with, and that's what I actually think he is. But no, I'm not going to say that. Rory Stewart and Matthew Hancock, they're decent people. I've watched them a few times on Question Time. Yeah, and Andrea Leadsom ran last time, but then she was the one that dropped out because she said that Theresa May was winning because she didn't have children, which, and a personal attack on the family doesn't always sit well. So, and I got that from Sky News. So, as I said briefly before, no matter who wins this race, I think the government's going to collapse and is going to have a general election. So you could put anyone in charge. I could be in charge of it, and we'd still have a general election because this government is not going to survive much longer. So a quick summary for this very long podcast of politics and boring. Is anyone still there? Hello. So the Brexit Party win, absolute clear, by an absolute landslide. The Brexit Party, I've put the map back up of the map. They're turquoise all across the board in England, pretty much. A fantastic victory for the Brexit Party. I think they're going to grow in strength. I think they're going to grow. Do they have the might in a general election? There's a Peterborough by-election coming up next week. We'll see if they've got the political might to shift it their way. I think we will have a general election soon. And I think the only two major parties would be not Change UK, fuck no. The Brexit Party if you want leave, Lib Dems if you want to remain. Good night for the Lib Dems. Yep, I don't agree with their policies, but you can't say that's not a good night for them. The Greens did well across Europe and in the UK as well. The SNP do well in Scotland like they normally do. Labour and the Conservatives, Labour heartland in Wales, pretty much wiped out. Conservatives had a bad night all round. That's part and parcel. In London as well, briefly, I'm going to touch up in the summary. That's a Labour stronghold, and I think Lib Dems and Brexit Party wiped that. I think the Brexit Party got 2 MEPs in London. So just a quick summarise there that I voted for the Brexit Party. We will be having a general election, in my opinion, soon rather than later. And everything now turns to the 31st of October, whether we leave on that day or we get pushed back again. So I've probably bored your life for 40 minutes of politics. The podcasts will return back to normal. I've got another one lined up next weekend, I think. I'm not going to say that definitely because there's the Champions League final on, so I can whitter on about football. I think that's it, really. Yeah, so thank you very much for watching. I hope I haven't... well, listening, shall we say. I hope I haven't bored you all too much. I hope that you agree or disagree and have a sensible debate about anything I've said today. And I'd like to hear from you on Twitter. Please follow me on Twitter at 23StevoG. Yeah, so basically, thank you very much for listening, and hope everyone's alright. So let's hope that